Dear student, hello dear student. Very good morning to all of you. So dear student, today we are going to see about 22nd July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. So dear student, how you can get this PDF? So you can scan this QR code to download our application, and in that you will find a particular section called Current Affair and Infographics Edition. There is available premium infographics. You can get that. Okay. So next one, to get this analysis video, you can simply scan this QR code. And those who are using iOS device, iPad device, you simply download the Class Plus application and use our code as PKR immediate to get it. Okay. So first important news of the day, the Dhankar submit his resignations to the president. So we know that vice president submit his resignations to the president. Okay. So why vice president submitted his resignation on the health ground. Okay. So 14th vice president of India leaves office with 2 years left in his terms. Decision come first day of the monsoon session of the parliament, stepping down to abide by the health medical advice, as per the advice given by the doctors. So vice president Jagdeep Dhankar ji, at the age of 74, resigned from the post of vice president on the health ground. So vice president of India, effectively immediately in accordance with the article 67A of the constitution. So you have to remember article, okay? Because article is very important in your examination. Whenever you are talking, writing something, mains, whenever you quote or write the article, so that is what going to create a lot of good impression, and that is also going to get good marks also. So resignation letter addressed to the President Draupadi Murmuji, which was posted on the Telegram, okay? Sorry, X means Twitter. So Dhankar ji was elected to the 14th vice president, okay? So later on, I'll decide. I'll post a video on detailed analysis of ground for election removal of vice president. So all these things. So next is BS communist icon and former Kerala CM pass away. Okay? So next is exclusion from the electoral roll won't affect the citizenship. So this is what submitted by the Election Commission of India. So Election Commission of India recently special intensive revision. So the special intensive revision that has been going on in the Bihar. So if any person name is not found in the electoral roll, that means that person is that citizenship is not going to affect. So the Election Commission of India assured the Supreme Court on Monday that the person would not cease to be a citizen merely on being found ineligible registration on electoral roll under the special intensive revision. If a person name is not found in this special intensive revision, that means that person not declared, it cannot be declared that that person is not citizen of India. Still that person can be a citizen of India. So the electoral body was responding to the allegation raised by the practitioner that the special intensive revision was citizenship screening and led to the mass disenfranchisement. So election commission said that 88-page affidavit that law and constitution with power to request proof of citizenship for enabling constitutional right to vote. But by the way, the right to vote is a statutory right. So we are going to see it today. So right to vote is a statutory right. So next is India to host chess World Cup venue to be decided. So this is a very welcoming development. India is going to host the chess World Cup. Chess body FID see the global chess body on Monday confirmed that India would be hosting the chess World Cup later this year, but venue not yet decided. So India is going to hold, but which state we are going to hold, that it is not yet decided. So the World Cup later this year, but venue yet to be decided. So already Delhi already host a World Cup. So there is possible contender that the World Cup may be held in Goa also. So the World Cup will be held from October 30 to November 27. A total of 206 players will be complete knockdown tournament and will spot at a sports at a candidate. The qualifying events for the World Championship for grabs. So FIDE is thrilled to announce that the World Cup, the chess World Cup, is going to held in India. It is a country with it is talking about India. India is a country with a deep rooted passion and support for the chess. Yes, you know that we have so many chess players, that is Vishwanath Anand. Okay? India's chess fan enthusiasm has always been remarkable, and we anticipated great interest in the events among the local chess lover. Okay? So there can be a very good question. The World Chess Championship is going to held in which location? So you need to know that. ठीक है dear student, those who are giving the mains 2026, you know that after your prelims and mains hardly 75 days is left. So better start writing answer from now, because in that 75 days it is very difficult for any student to master in everything. So you can start writing by joining our course. The course fee is very less. It is completely flexible. You can write question of your choice. You can get it evaluated from our highly qualified faculty, like those who have already UPSC selected or interview appeared. Okay. So next important news is, so a new deep sea mining rule lack consensus despite pressure from the USA. So you know that currently in at the world level we are facing severe shortage of the critical minerals. So that is being controlled by the China, and we need critical mineral for all our emerging technology, be that EV, solar, so missile, space. So we need to extract, and in ocean bottom, so there are so many minerals found. So they are called polymetallic nodules. PMW, polymetallic nodules. So polymetallic nodules can be extracted to meet the growing need of this strategic mineral. So after 2 weeks of negotiation, International Seabed Authority. So this International Seabed Authority (ISA) will regulate, or it give permissions to the country for extraction and exploration of seabed minerals. Okay, still from the finalizing rules for extraction of coveted minerals on the high seas despite heightened pressure triggered by the US effort to fast track the controversial practice. USA after Donald Trump, they are not listening to the any international rules regulation. They simply want to promote their self interest. So without having proper consensus rules, USA is pushing for extraction of this mineral. So these minerals and metals in question, such as cobalt, nickels, manganese, are used for electric vehicle and other emerging technology. So you can see how important are these technology, na? Because we are moving towards EV and China is controlling everything. But after more than decades of talks, crucial section of the proposed rules, including mechanism for protecting marine environment, are far from winning the consensus. No doubt, human race want to extract the minerals from the bottom, but what kind of impact it is going to have on marine environment? So that not yet been. I know there is not any consensus, because whenever you are extracting minerals in the bottom of the ocean, so that might create pollution, noise pollution, and sediment pollution. So they might impact the all the ecology and living being there, na? So next important, all the scientific knowledge that known to have to identify potential impact of marine environment. So if we are going to extract, so what kind of impact it is going to have on the marine environment? International Seabed Authority session, which is continued this week, assemble of 169 member state, comes as US Donald Trump screw a mockery trench into the process. So Trump instructed his administrations to fast track the granting permit for deep sea mining in domestic and international water. So not only the domestic but international water, citing the obscure 1980 USA law and sidestepping procedure undertaken by the ISA. So that is what the problem. USA under the Donald Trump, they are following very hegemonistic policy. They don't respect the international law. They whatever they believe, Donald Trump, they think that it is the international law. So USA state is not party to the independence. USA is not party to the International Seabed Authority or UN Convention on Laws of the Sea. That is called UN clause. USA do not sign UN clause. So if they are not party, USA say that we are not party to this convention, so we are not binding by this regulation. Okay. So this is what very important. So you need to study about UN clause. Under the UN clause, one is called International Seabed Authority, ISA, International Seabed Authority. So this International Seabed Authority gave permission for extraction of deep sea minings, or this is what called polymetallic nodules. So these are very important for electronics, EV, so other industry also. To please read this out, so there can be a very good question in main. So what are the challenges? It can ask about recently with the question कैसे पूछेगा, recently with the transitioning to the EV and advanced technology, they need critical minerals, and how deep sea mining can help in fulfilling these critical minerals. Then what are the development, what are the current level of development at the India and international level in this direction, and what are the challenges associated with the extraction of minerals, and what kind of policy you will suggest to overcome that. So there can be a very good question. I'll put that question in our YouTube also, so please check that and try to answer this question also. So water energy demand spotlight risk of human induced earthquake. So we know that whenever two earth plate they meet together, they each pushes against other, so there will be considerable energy store here. There will be a point where there will be breakdown of this plate, so earthquake will happen, and that led to the release of energy in the all directions. Okay, that is what's called earthquake. But there are earthquake generally from nature induced, also from the human induced, but recent time we are seeing a rising instances of human induced earthquake. So this article is talking about how human behavior have modified the earthquake in different parts. Okay, so mining, extraction of groundwater, impounding water behind a dam, injecting fluid into the grounds, and engineering coastal structure have been shown to induce seismic activity. This is because the loading and unloading crust repeat the manner can cause accumulate the stress to be released. So that means here you can see about there is a earthquake of 6.3 magnitude rest significant damage to the Koyana, Maharashtra. Several studies follow the blame disaster water overloading of the Koyana dam. Let's say this is a river. ये एक रिवर है, ये एक रिवर है, पहले फ्लो होता था, कोई इशू नहीं था, बट हमने क्या किया, एक बड़ा सा डैम बना दिया उसका कोर्स को रखने के लिए. सो नाउ वाटर विल बी स्टोर हियर. So when too much of water will store, it will create a pressure on this rock na. So there might be a point when this stone will move, this rock will move downward, so that is what caused the earthquake also. So here we are going to see, so please read this article, very important. Earthquake are usually natural, but not always. Sometimes some natural factor can combine with human activity leads to the earthquake as well. Earthquake induced by human activity are called human induced earthquake. So agar human, if earthquake is caused by human, we can call this as a human induced earthquake. In 2017, so 700 human induced earthquake have been recorded around the world. Last 150 years they are becoming more common. So human induced, like mining. So let's say you are doing some underground mining. Let's say this is the soil, we are doing some underground mining, and let's say we need to bomb something, collapse. So in case of it, there is a collapse of roof, so that might create a shock wave. So mining also create earthquake. So extracting groundwater, so let's say this is our top the ground, there is a groundwater layer here, so you have extracted all the water from here, so because of that this ground will be moved downward, so that create a earthquake. So next is impounding water behind the dam. I have already explained you. Injecting fluid into ground. So let's say this is a like soil, and there is a layer, so you have injected soil water into this, so because of that it will push upward pressure, so that can create the tremor waves also. So next is constructing tall building, engineering coastal structure, among other have been shown induce seismic activity. So this region can also call the earthquake. So this is because according to the expert, loading and unloading cross is repeated manner can cause strain to accumulate between the tectonic plates, which could in turn modulate the seismic activity. If the earth load can be modified, so that can also promote the earthquake. So seismologists have been also studying how amount of water above and below the ground affect the geological process. So this article is given, I've already highlighted, just read it, how human factor is now causing major cause of earthquake. So around 6% of the PM internship offer recipient join the work. So if any question regarding what kind of step that is government being taken for promotion of even skilled, so you can talking about prime minister internship scheme. So more than 500 50,000 candidates have so far been accepted. 1.53 lakhs offer have been made by the company under prime minister internship scheme. So this is a very good scheme to ensure that our youth will get industrial exposure, youth will get industrial experience, so that they can improve the on skill as per the demand of the market. So this is what said by our finance ministry. So little over more than 50,000 candidates have so far been accepted. 1.53 lakhs offer made by the company under prime minister internship scheme. So you need to remember this scheme. So whenever you are talking about what are the steps taken by the government to improve the scheme, so you can write that. So according to data provided by the government to Lok Sabha, of these have accepted 8,700 or 6% so far join the respective intern. So that means those who have applied, those who have companies send the letter for joining, out of them only 6% have joined. Dear student, please comment in the comment box whether my voice is audible and everything is good or not. So Pradhan Mantri internship scheme was announced in the budget 2024-25, aimed to provide internship in India's top 500 company to 1 crore youth in next 5 years. So you can note them, the objective. So whenever you are talking about in mains, what step India should take in, or what step India should take, and how to promote industry linkage, skilling of youth, you can talk of all these things. Na? The second round of they will also send these request for joining. So just this is more than enough. So next important development they can ask in your UPSC, nisar first joint satellite of NASA ISRO scheduled to be launched July 30. So this is very important. I can, like, you can expect a question in your UPSC also. So nisar first joint satellite of National Aeronautics Space Administration, that is NASA and ISRO, will be launched Satish Dhawan Space Center by July 30. So it is launched by using GSLV F-16 rocket. Will inject synthetic aperture radar satellite into 743 sound synchronous orbit with an inclined angle of 98.4 degree. So according to the ISRO, NISAR satellite weight is about 2.3 tons. Is unique Earth observation satellite. So it is a Earth observation satellite. That means it will take a lot of photos, lot of study about Earth surface. So satellite to observe Earth within a dual frequency synthetic aperture radar, that is NASA L-band and ISRO's S-band. So that means NASA will provide L-band. NASA will provide L-band and ISRO is providing S-band using NASA's 12 meter 12 meter unfallable mesh reflect antenna. So integrated to ISRO's 13K satellite bus. So what kind of objective we are going to achieve through the NISAR? NISAR will be observed Earth from a swath of 242 kilometers. Let's say this is a Earth, so it will rotate like this. So each time it will cover an area of 243 kilometers. So by rotating like that, it will provide entire visual image of Earth. Yes, so 242 kilometer high spatial resolution using SWEPSAR technology for first time. So satellite will scan the entire globe and provide all weather data in just 12 days. So it will scan the entire Earth, like, it will move like this and Earth will move like this. This is the Earth. The satellite will move like that and Earth will move like that. So by doing that, it will strip by strip, it will study entire the Earth in the 12 days, and this data is available. So NISAR can detect small changes in the Earth's surface such as ground deformation, ice sheet movement, and vegetation dynamics for further application including sea ice classification, ship detection, shoreline monitoring, storm characteristics, change in the soil, moisture mapping. So that means it is very much application to even our security apparatus also. We can also track the terrorist camp also. The launch is result of the strong technological cooperation between ISRO and NASA jet propulsion system. Okay? So it is a very good, there can be a good question in your UPSC prelims also. So Odisha harassment case, the internal complaint committee report did not seek penal action. So recently we know that a particular student in the HEPM Autonomous College recently self-immolate herself uh, on the allegation that the college, the internal complaint committee, even the principal, they don't listen to this complaint. So internal complaint committee constituted under the sexual harassment at workplace. So if they ask about, there can be a good question in the prelims. What are the provision of sexual harassment at workplace? So one provision is establishment of an internal complaint committee in all organizations. So at FM Autonomous College in Baleshwar had not recommended any disciplinary action against the teacher accused sexually harassment of student, who died after setting herself fire. So the panel did not find any conclusive evidence to substantiate the charge of sexual harassment. That means the internal complaint committee, they don't find that whether this, the accused HOD or the assistant professor is involved or not. So a student should strive to uphold the reputation of the institution and improve the quality of education by keeping cordial relationship with teacher. And they should not indulge in character assassination without any proof. So that is what given by the internal complaint committee. Internal complaint committee of the belief that there is no conclusive evidence that clearly shows that this teacher is involved in the harassment. So why this is very important? This is important because recently so many women are facing the rape, death. So we need to ensure, we need to understand what are the reason behind that, and we need to take very concrete action. So Supreme Court acquit all the 12 convicted in 2006 train blast case. So Bombay High Court set aside 2015 judgment of special MCOCA. MCOCA means Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime. MCOCA. So this is a very stringent law that is being implemented by Maharashtra to deals with the terrorist. Here, according to MCOCA, anything, it's a very stringent law. So it any person can detain for 6 months without approval of the court. Then whatever confession made before the police, that can be admissible as a evidence. So that means very draconian law, which is awarded death sentence to the 5 and life imprisonment to the 7. So Maharashtra government challenged to the verdict in the Supreme Court. So after that, person has been acquitted, and government saying that they're making an appeal in the higher court also. So government agreed to 16-year discussion on Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam terror attack amid uproar in the Lok Sabha. So recently government accepted that yes, we'll have a discussion on the Operation Sindoor, and we'll find so that everyone will know what are happening and whether there is a losses, and if losses, why there is a losses. So we can find accountability, and we should plug that gap in the future. And dear student, we are also providing the daily current affair in a very systematic way. So it will cover, it is covering all the Hindu, the Indian Express, PIB, other newspaper. So you can scan this QR code to join it. Okay. So next is Parliament. Parliament begin process for Justice Verma impeachment. So we know recently in the house of Yashwant Verma, so there is a huge amount of bond cash is found. So after that, there is an in-house committee that is being set up by the Supreme Court. They also suggested the president for impeachment. And in Indian constitution, so far not a single judge of Supreme Court has been impeached so far. So to impeach a judge, we need a motion of 50% support either in Rajya Sabha or 100% support in Lok Sabha. Once that is being admitted, it is up to the speaker or the the vice president of that house. They can either accept or reject. If they have accepted, this is what provided under the Judges Inquiry Act. If they have been provided, then they have to form a 3-member committee. Committee is consisting of one Supreme Court judge, one eminent jurist, and one Chief Justice of High Court. If this court they found that yes, this person is involved in the uh, illegal act or misbehavior, incapacity, then they can recommend to the parliament for removal. For their removal, parliament has to pass with this resolution with special majority of 2/3 present and voting, and it should be that means it should be a special majority, and after that it will send to the second house also passed with a special majority, that is 2/3 present and voting, and that must be more than 50%. Then this resolution should be given to the president on the same session, and if president is sign this motion, then the Supreme Court judge or High Court judge can be stand impeached. So this process is so complex that so far not a single judge impeached. Okay. So you can see here, the 63 opposition members signed the notice submitted to Rajya Sabha, but Rajya Sabha need only 50. So that means motion can be admitted. So while notice to the Lok Sabha Speaker received bipartisan support of 152. So in Lok Sabha, we need only 100 members sign. So including leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi signed. So the process to remove Justice Yashwant Verma from office was set motion on the Monday, with member of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha submitting notice to the presiding officer, their respective house. Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the vice president also. So Justice Verma responsibility were taken away, and he was transferred from Delhi to Allahabad High Court after burnt currency were found on their resident. So a notice to removal of the judge need to have 100 member in case of Lok Sabha, 50 member from the Rajya Sabha. Motion can either accepted or rejected by the speaker. So I'll post a video on that in detailed process of impeachment of judge of High Court today only, and also I'll post a video on removal, resignation of vice president also. So detail about how, what are the procedure for resignation and all these things. So next is the setting of a committee. So Rajya Sabha chairman informed the house that according to the Judges Inquiry Act, so removal of the judges are driven by Judges Inquiry Act. So when notice of the motion are submitted, same day both the House of Parliament committee to examine charges level against the judges to be constitutional. So this judge, the committee consisting of a Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of a High Court, and distinguished jurist. So please read this. So there can be a very good question in your UPSC and state BCS exam. What are the impeachment procedure of any Supreme Court or High Court judges? Okay. So next important article is the House panel report on income tax table in the Lok Sabha. So Parliamentary Select Committee appointed review the new income tax bill that is being proposed in 2025 by the government, tabled in the parliament. So what are the concerns? So bill was introduced in Lok Sabha February. It was then sent to the select committee chaired by the Bajanta Panda. So the government on Monday tabled, you can say, 4,575 pages report in the Lok Sabha. The bill expanded the scope of power given to the tax official during search and seizure operation and drawn criticism and call for change, including from the expert of select committee consulted during review. Now, what happening? Now we are moving digitally. Earlier, all our passbook are to be in physical form, but now we are moving digitally. So that means our wealth we store in the digital format. So this law try to give this power to our income tax commissioner, income tax officials, so they can have access to our digital, you can say, about social media account, our social media mobile, so all these things, so that they can unearth. But however, there is a very misuse of that power, so that is violation of our privacy. So this is article is talking about that. Under this bill, if a person found to be possession or control of any book, account, or other documents or information maintained digitally, computer system, or stored electronically, they must produce detailed income officer, reasonable technical and other assistance, including access code by whatever name called may be necessary. That means if you are storing something in digital format, so you have to provide the password so that income tax authority can access to this. But the people are saying that this might lead to the misuse and harassment by the tax officials. So we need to find a balance between these both two, so that both can be while on the one hand tax evasion can be prevented, while on the other hand we need to ensure the privacy of our people. So plane crash probe will be transparent. So this is what said by our Ministry of State on Civil Aviation. So dear student, recently we have started weekly current affair for Odisha specific topic. So you can scan this QR code. Here you will get the daily newspaper and weekly current affairs. So please can download our applications to get it. So next is Supreme Court cautioned the ED against being used to fight the political battle. So recently we are seeing that so many accusations against the ED being used as an instrument of political to settle the political dispute. So recently Supreme Court also said that. So here in this this whatever I'm written in the box, so this is very important. You can write in your conclusion. Do not percolate this virus across the country. Let political battle we fight before the electorate. Why are you being used? So this is what said by the Supreme Court. You can quote in your examination also. They go, if political party will come and political party will go. ED being a statutory body, so they are responsible not to favor any political party, rather favor the constitution, rather favor the rule of law. Okay. So do not try to use court as a platform of political battle. Fight somewhere else. This is what said by the Chief Justice of India. These are very good quotes. So whenever you are talking about anything, try to use court as a forum for politicization. You can use this. Okay. Whenever you are talking about independence of institution, you can talk about the Supreme Court observation on the ED. So dear student, if you want to attempt the UPSC question, you can scan this QR code, and we are also providing OPSC test series very nominal fee. You can scan this QR code to join it. So next is, what are the court rules with respect to AI and copyright? I'm just putting the context in front of you. They go, AI needs vast amount of data for its training and for its operation, and where it is getting data can be copyright data or open source data. When it is receiving this copyright data and modifying it and providing content to the people, but at the end it is just violating the copyright. So copyright owner, they are claiming that the AI owner, they are training, they are misusing our copyright without giving fair compensation. So that led to the controversy, and recently there are so many controversy because the AI, that is AI recently development, AI is developing recently, and copyright law, they are quite old. So that led to the recent conflict, and we need to find a very balance so that every it is win-win for everyone. Okay. So two judgment, one is versus OpenAI. So if you look into Indian perspective, so ANI versus OpenAI suit insignificantly clarifying how India existing IPL law apply to the generative AI. Under the Copyright Act, copyright owner exclusive right, economic right, including production, adoption, and translation, which required permission for commercial use. So that means our copyright law is driven, but AI they might misuse and they might not fairly compensate to our people. So this is what the big issue that we are facing. So just read it, you will understand. So what is the legal status of right to vote? So before that, tell me. So right of human being are three types. So first one is fundamental right, FR. The next is constitutional right. Third one is legal right. So fundamental right is mentioned in the part 3 of the constitution from article 12 to article 35. So it is talking about different fundamental right, the right to freedom of speech and expression, right against exploitation, all these things. And constitutional right are that right that is mentioned in the constitution. You can talk about right to property. So these are some and elections to the parliament and state legislative assembly should be held on universal adult franchise. So these are constitutional right, but and legal right, these are provided by the law. You can say right to work by Manrega na MG, the National Food Security Act provide for right to food na. Okay. So if you look into different cases of Supreme Court, I've already highlighted all these things, so just read it. If you look into different Supreme Court judgment, Supreme Court time and again sometimes saying that the right to vote is a constitutional right, in other case it is saying that right to vote is a legal right. So this tussle is going on, but current position is that current legal status of right to vote is statutory rights. That means it is provided under in Representation of People Act, not under the Constitution. Okay. But here one person, Justice Ajay Rastogi, who dissented this judgment, saying that the it should be the right to vote should be constitutional right. It should be given higher protection because it is part of the freedom of speech and expression. Right to vote intrinsic to the free and fair election, that is part of basic structure. So even it is not considered as a fundamental right, right originate from article 360 of the constitution and shaped by the statute made by the parliaments. Considering this factor, Supreme Court may consider elevating status of the right to vote to the constitutional right. Okay, so you can just note them down and you can write as it is in your examination as your conclusion. So देखो, paper in paper they are giving lot of information, very good information. If you can able to write them, then it can be very good answer. Here this can be used in your conclusion. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Dear student, in our application we are providing the CSAT free test, then NCERT test. You can also join to get free mentorship. So why you are waiting, start joining and enjoying. So this is a very important interesting data being published. Recent time we are seeing that more number of earlier more number of students are in the private, from government school to private school. Students are moving from government school to the private school, but more boys they are moving to the government to private school rather than girls. So why this is happening? Because the still the patriarchy in family, it is believed that boy are superior, so they want to provide quality educations to their boy child rather than the girl child. So that is the reason there is a rise in the admission of the boy, or you can say the boy in the private school, and increasing enrollment of girl in the government school. So threat to the India global power status. So this article is talking about recently unilateral action being taken by the Donald Trump in different issue. So that led to the erosion of strategic autonomy and power that India is giving. So here it is talking about how it is Israel war. So recently it is also threatening in Israel Iran war. So USA threatened India to stop buying oil from the Iran, and we know that Iran is providing us a very cheap oil, so that is very good for our economy. Despite having so much of benefit, we have to stop buying oil from the Iran. Recently, again, the Donald Trump also threatened India for from buying the fuel from the Russia, so that it is saying that the our oil purchased from the Russia, that is fueling the Russian Ukraine war. So they've threatened to impose 100% secondary sanction. So all these things is a indications that USA is moving against the global rule based order, and they are imposing unilateral sanction. So India need to be ready for that. So to be emerge as a global power, we need to ensure all these things. We need to understand that, and we need to navigate in this way na? So next is at FTA heart promise of global capacity center. So what is global capacity center? So we have established center, or we are invited all our NRIs and person of Indian origin, those who are staying here. We are here establishing service sector that is providing service, high tech service to the all over the world. So this is what called global capacity center. And recently we are planning to sign the free trade agreement with the UK. So this is going to be very win-win for both, because this free trade agreement helps India to emerge as a global capacity center. We can attract more people, we can attract more fund to come here and establish service industry within India, and that service industry can export all over the world. So you need to know that there is a free trade that is being going to implement between India and UK very soon. So next is on vanished fact. So the full and raw cockpit voice recorder transcript must be released. So recently, after the aircraft accident and preliminary investigation led to the so many acquisition all over the world regarding what happening to the aircraft. Some story they are saying that it is the pilot fault, something that it is the fault of the aircraft. So we need to find the raw data. We need to ensure transparent investigation, so that what are the real reason for that we need to ascertain. Okay? So next is cost of promise. So eve election eve welfare measure display a lack of respect for the voter. So during election we have seen that how political party they are promising everyone sort of like what they are going to give, but if that kind of competitive politics, or you can say the freebie culture, is going to be implemented, that is going to impact India long term. Because whenever you are promising something freebie, so that is you are impacting the long term growth, because if you pay more on the subsidy, so less on the investment, so that lead to neglection of the infrastructure, education, health, so which is very dangerous for long term growth of India. So that means politician, instead of indulging all these freebies, they should have a vision, they should have a long term planning what they are going to achieve. So that is going to help a lot. So idea on trial, critical thinking in retreat. So this article is talking about freedom of speech and expression is very much essential. If you see how our world moved from medieval period, we have moved from medieval to the modern because of the freedom of speech expression appeal by some of the important leader. Even during our Renaissance movement, it is the freedom of speech and expression of our leaders. So they have held, they have reformed all our society. So, but at recent time, we are seeing that freedom of speech and expression being curtailed, it is being censored, and those who are criticizing against the system, they have been penalized, branding them as a anti-national. So because of that, our society became stagnant, our education system became more conformist, our society became retrograding, or they are very orthodox. So to ensure a real power, to ensure that India should be emerge as a global power, we need to promote the freedom of speech and expression to fuller extent. So this article is talking about all these things, so it is very important for your essay writing. So please read it, and this the quote, the data that and the story they are giving, very interesting. So dear student, this is all about 22nd July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. So, dear student, if you have liked this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and please write your thought in the comment box. And it is your likes, subscription, and good comment that really motivate me to provide this kind of video. Please stay tuned. So, I'll have to end here. Chaliye, bye bye. Have a good day.